So I've recently got a topping A90 Discrete. I am receiving the new FiiO WARMER R2R DAC, which is slightly longer. It's styled in the style of the K15 and K17 series, which is kind of nice. I like that chassis design and the aesthetics, but it has XLR outputs, and I wanted all of my desktop audio to be fully balanced, so XLR in, XLR out. And the K13 R2R, whilst it's really good, it only has XLR outputs, no inputs, no digital or analog inputs even. So the WARMER R2R, since it only has XLR and RCA outputs, I wouldn't be able to use it with this. So I'd need a preamplifier or a DAC which has XLR inputs. And I didn't really want to use RCA either. There's a bit of noise and things that you get through with RCA sometimes, even at low volume. So XLR combats that, so everything is completely silent. So it was a toss-up between the topping L70 and this, the A90 Discrete. Looking at reviews online, it seems most reviewers preferred the A90 Discrete for the fuller and wider sound, but still having that mid-range timbre to vocals and sort of bringing forwards some of that mid-range, but still retaining all the detail and stereo layering, which now that I've had this in for a couple of days, I can see that definitely. So as a headphones amplifier first, between the two, the K13 R2R and the A90 Discrete, I think they both sound very, very similar. Now my X9, the Luxon X9, it's in the box at the moment. I'm gonna keep that in the box for now. They have got the special edition coming out, which I'll be receiving probably next month, maybe January, don't know yet. So I'm waiting for the special edition of that to release. But between all three of them, the X9, K13 R2R and the A90 Discrete, as headphones amplifiers, they seem just as good as each other. And there's a massive price difference between all three. So Luxon X9 is £1,000. This is, you can get it for around about £250 now, I believe. And this is just under £600. So quite a big difference. And they are slightly different architectures as well. So it's R2R obviously here with a Class AB headphone amp stage. This is obviously an FCA. It's their internal in-house architecture. And the Luxon X9 is obviously AKM DAC with Class AB amplifier stage and preamplifier stage. So between them, they all sound very similar. The sound stage is very similar. The vocal, the mid-range, the upper end, the detail up top, they're all very, very similar, but there is some subtle nuances that are different. This, the A90 Discrete, has a little bit better resolution at top. Also has a little bit better lower end bass punch. I don't mean sub bass extension because they both do it really well. It's the punch, the initial punch of the bass as it kicks in certain music. And I don't know, with the HE1000 SE and my HD 600s, especially the 600s, that bass is more obvious on the A90 than it is on the X9 and the K13 R2R. So I think as an amp, or a headphone amp, I prefer the A90 Discrete. So that was really good. I'm pleased with that. As a preamplifier, the physical differences, I actually really prefer the volume dial on the A90 Discrete. It is one piece of metal and it has the same sort of heft as the X9's dial. The X9's dial sticks out maybe another ½ centimeter, but it's polished and brushed on the front. So it has that sheen and look to it, which is Eversolo's own signature style, I guess. It's carried over from their bigger amps. But this, for some reason, it feels more heftier than the X9 style, and I really like that. And it too uses, the L70 and the A90 to also use the resistor ladder for the volume controller. And the sound that it makes, it's just like the X9, but it's slightly quieter and it feels more, or it sounds more refined than the resistors in the X9. So every 4 increments, you see that click? 1, 2, 3, 4. that's when the resistor banks switch over. Now that switchover is audible on here, but it's very quiet to the point where you wouldn't notice it unless you were listening for it. Whereas on the X9, it's very obvious. Those double clicks on every fourth increment, you can hear it. And you can even hear it through headphones, or open back headphones at least anyway. So that was an interesting note, because the A90 Discrete came out 2 years prior to the X9. So I don't know what generation of WARMER relays the X9 is using, and I don't know what's in here either. Haven't opened it up yet. So yeah, that was an interesting observation at least anyway. But in terms of preamplified power, actually just a note on the headphones amplifier power, 9.8 watts and 2.4 watts, so a big difference in power output when on high gain and using balanced outputs. But with my HE1000 SE 35 ohms and the HC600 300 ohms, there is a volume difference between them when set to the same gain levels and the same volume figure, but that'll be the internal, whatever the sort of the margin is between them that each manufacturer has put in. But yeah, volume level between them, 2.4 watts is still loads, more than enough for most headphones, and it seems equal between them, to be honest, all things relative. As a preamplifier, I think this definitely has the edge. As I say, the volume, interacting with the volume dial, you do have the remotes, but I prefer using the dial, just reaching over and just turning it. And this is just a much more satisfying experience to interact with. And you've got obviously single press to switch inputs. Now there is no mute on either of these on the front. There is a mute button on the X9, which is just there. But as I don't use RCA, pressing it once switches to RCA, and pressing it again switches to XLR. So I kind of use that as a mute or a pseudo mute function, because there's going to be no audio playing when it switches to RCA. So if I do need to mute quickly, I just press it in and it's fine. So that's that. There is a hidden menu. You can also change gain levels with the volume down. So if you press it in and turn it left twice, you go to low gain, press it again, turn it right, and you go to high gain. So really intuitive the way the interface is set out. And there is a hidden menu option to go through various underlying features as well, where you turn it on with the button held down, and then you cycle through, and these little indicators indicate which menu page you are on. And there are 4 pages. So things like changing what the 12-volt trigger on the back does, whether it's an input or an output. So I've got it as an output at the moment, which goes into the power amplifier, the topping PA7. So if I turn this off, it will also turn off the power amplifier, and then the same turning it on. So that works really well. The other difference I noted was, I just pull out this remote, which is metal. The chassis quality compared to, I mean, this is aluminium as well, but it's very tappy and hollow sounding. The PA7, it is also metal on the surrounding frame, but it's not as thick. So the A90 Discrete, which was another surprise to me, was the quality of the thickness and the heft of the chassis and the frame, the volume dial as well. This is just as good quality as the Luxon X9. So it's hefty and it's got some weight to it, and that's nice to see. As a preamplifier, again, I'm still using the same speakers, the Triangle Comet 40th. No issues whatsoever with loudness. There's no distortion or anything at any volume level. Again, just like with headphones, wide staging, layering's all there in the stereo image. So yeah, I've got nothing really to complain about. So this is going to be an easy swap for me. Once the WARMER R2R comes in, it is just going to be unplug some XLRs at the back, unplug the USB, and just plug in the R2R WARMER and see what that sounds like. So I'm really interested in seeing what that setup is going to be like, because we know the specs of the R2R WARMER already. It uses the same 0.1% tolerance R2R ladder DAC as the K13 R2R, and I will be getting the linear power supply for this as well. And the WARMER has a linear internal power supply already. So I'll be really intrigued to see what the differences are, because I suspect, other than the tube buffer in the WARMER, these two, the K13 and the WARMER, are going to sound very similar, again, just like these are with as headphones amplifiers. And the price of the WARMER is £329 right now on AliExpress through the official FiiO page. So it's not an expensive amp. It's a lot cheaper than I thought it was going to be. DAC, sorry, not an amp. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the sound quality is like. But yeah, I quite like this stack now. It looks kind of cool as well, having a full trio stack. They're all very similar in size, but there is a difference in depth. So if I just show you that, the PA7 is a lot smaller in desktop footprint, and the K13 is slightly deeper than the A90 Discrete. But the A90 Discrete is quite a bit longer. There's like 3 centimeters longer compared to the K13. Otherwise, I would have had this at the bottom and just put this on the top, because both of these do generate quite a bit of heat. So if I show you what it's like now, it's been on since this morning. So if I just measure the gap just there, 42 with a max of 44.7. It does get warmer as you go a bit further in. So 44, and then the PA7 is reading 45. So the PA7 does get warmer still compared to the A80 or A90 Discrete. And the volume dial, since that's metal, it's 35. And the coolest amp of them all, 35, 36. So this is just barely warm to the touch. And my room is quite warm at the moment as well. It's probably about 32, 33 degrees in here. So it's just above room temp. So yeah, these are warm running amps, and I have put additional feet off Amazon on the PA7 just to raise the height a bit more. Because as standard, both PA7 and A90 Discrete come with the slippery silicone feet, which I hate. So I always take those off and put my own ones on. So the A90 Discrete does have some on there on the underside as well. And it also means you can just tuck in a little cable if you need to feed something through. So my keyboard cable on the K13, that's just feeding through from behind the desk. Just makes it neater and tidier. But yeah, so that's my impression of the A90 Discrete. It's good for the money. The quality, the material and construction quality is insanely good, especially for that money as well, because this is like £1,000 DAC amp levels of quality like the X9, and I really appreciate that. And it's got XLR in, XLR out, so I'm going to be able to use it as my preamp full-time going forwards for the foreseeable future now. So it's just changing. If I get a new power amp, I can just unplug it, plug it back in, and same with the DAC as well. So yeah, just thought I'd do a quick video on that and how this chain works together, because I think this is a really good pairing. It all sounds good. It's got that similar signature if all of these were on their own in isolation, feeding headphones or speakers. So it's nice that all of these talk to each other and there's no sort of limiting factor between them, because getting your chain to gel can be a difficult task. And I've been through it in the past, years and years, just trying different amps and DACs and all that kind of stuff. And you just don't get that matched pairing just right. That's an important factor, because it will make or break how you feel about the music that you're hearing that comes through them. So none of this has any fatigue at all. Whereas when I had the DX5 II from Topping, that had fatigue within about an hour. It's just too harsh and too clinical sounding. But this has smoothness and warmth throughout all of these, and I like that. And it's wide staging as well, and that's sort of my preference towards sound signature. But yeah, so I'll do another update once I get the R2R warmer in, and also once I get the linear power supply from this. Estimated time is around about December, January time for the FiiO's own linear power supply that matches the design of the K13 R2R. So I'll get that in, I'll do a video. I'll probably have the warmer before then. So I'll have to compare the warmer with its internal linear with the AC power that's going to here. That's okay, because it still sounds really good anyway. It's a super low noise dual thing inside anyway. But yeah, that's it for now. See you guys in the next one.